we just wanted to say a massive thank you to our podcast sponsor, Kevin Murphy, distributed by Ozdare, and thank them for being the most amazing brand partner for Salon Rising. This brand is truly incredible and we are so excited to work alongside you.
Welcome back to the Inner Sanctum lovers. On this week's episode, we are joined by special guest Carlo, CEO of Ozdare Australia. And guys, you know I love a backstory. I really do. So I know you're going to enjoy this. It's amazing to hear Carlo's journey into the industry and where it has taken him to things like co-founding 11. It's just, really neat points for anybody in the industry and thinking of the different paths that you can take. So settle in, enjoy, and thanks for listening. Welcome back, everybody, to the Inner Sanctum. We have a special guest today, Samara.
We do.
A very special. Would you like to introduce our
No,
special guest?
you do it.
Okay. We are joined by the wonderful Carlo from Ozdare. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Excellent. So you're like, what's happening now? So Carlo, for a starter, because this is the first time we've met, but you and Samara have met before, Can you please explain to me who you are in relation to Ozdare?
Yes, it's a bit of a story.
Yeah, I love a story.
Great. Okay, so at present, I'm the CEO of Ozdare.
Yes.
I joined Ozdare when actually Peter McDonald, who's the founder of Ozdare, came to Australia in 2000. And he started Ozdare as a distribution company, distributing American Crew, Mop, Defy.
Right.
Yep.
So for anyone that's listening that's in beauty, these are like your beauty wholesalers. So again, a lot of us as hairdressers know that it comes through normally a distributor.
Yep.
They hold lots of different brands and then the brands come to us from them, because obviously holding like massive brands like say, Cloud9 and things like that can't distribute to every single small salon. So they go to a distributor first, and then that's the distributor's business to move it on.
Yep.
So for anyone that's in beauty, it's kind of like your
Bella Beauty.
like Bella Beauty and any places, wholesale places like that. But then these guys do it. Well, Bella Beauty does it quite big, but these guys do it in a very large scale.
Well, in 2000, getting professional hair care products to consumers was literally through salons.
Yes.
Like before online.
Yeah, that's
before,
changed
You go way
so
back
much.
when. Yeah, we were very reliant on the hairdresser recommending product to clients, because there was, your professional hair care products and your supermarket products. But if you wanted professional hair care products,
you had
could
to
only
go to
get
a
it.
salon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yes, as a distributor, we look at products globally and get the ones that would suit our market, and then we'd grab the products and we'd sell it to the salons, and salons would sell it to their consumers.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It was funny to digress for a second.
You forget that. You forget there's there wasn't online, because we're so used to it now.
Yeah.
And there was that period of time where everyone was like so angry about it when it went online, and now we're just used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to digress for a second, I was having this conversation with a guy who said, so Carl, you're in the hair care game. I said, yeah. He goes, so you got shampoos and styling products, and you sell it to the consumer. I said, well, not necessarily. He goes, well, walk me through the process. I said, well, okay. And it is a process when you think about it.
Yeah.
So distributor grabs a product, yeah? And then he sells the product to a salon, yeah?
Yeah.
The salon then has to get his staff, and then the staff then has to sell it to the consumer.
Yeah, but then even before you've got to purchase it off the company.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, okay, I lift the wholesale.
Yeah.
So as a distributor, so if you're creating a product like we did with 11, which we'll get down the track. So you've created the product, created to distributor to salon, salon to stylist, stylist to consumer. He looked at me like I was mad.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's the
process.
only way that we could have done it back then.
Yeah.
He goes, in this world we can go straight to consumer.
Yeah.
There was a lot of steps, but that's all we knew.
It's funny too, because a girlfriend of mine has a beauty business, a very successful beauty business. And in the beginning, it was very much like she was going to go to salon and salon to customer. Whereas now, like 90% of her business or 95% of the business is her straight to the consumer.
Yeah.
Whereas that's what her business has become.
Yeah.
But it's also for us, I think for especially hers is a little bit different, but I think a lot of the time, especially for hairdressers, people want to be like there's such a broad range of what can be used. People want a hairdresser to tell them what to use, right?
I don't know of anyone that comes into a salon that doesn't want to be told by a hairdresser what to use. Unfortunately, it just doesn't happen enough.
Yeah,
nowhere
agreed.
near enough.
100%.
In fact, it's going after COVID, where you thought how important products were to a salon business because it was the only form of income that you could get. You think that would have set everyone to going, hang on a second, how retail is important to our business.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems to have gone back the other way.
Yeah, okay.
It's sort of
Interesting.
slowing down, yeah.
If you think of like, even if I think of myself, right? So when it comes to skincare, not so much hair care, because I obviously know, in saying that, I still say to the girls, what do you think I should use on my hair? But when it comes to skincare, I'd had this conversation before. I went to a really well-known salon on the coast and I wanted to know what to use on my hair. What to use on my face. And she said, oh, no, you're fine. And didn't recommend me anything. So I actually went on that line that night, spent like $600 on product that still to this day I have no idea if they work.
Yeah.
Whereas if
Yeah.
I found, there we go, there's a shout out to any really great facialist on the Gold Coast, hit this woman up.
I
If
agree.
I found a really amazing facialist, she would be my go-to and I would buy everything and everything always from her because I would know that one person has completely got me. So I would be the same way if I found a makeup artist that was like, this is exactly what you should use to get the result you exactly want to get.
Yep.
Because,
Yeah.
and I think that's what hairdressers do
Yep.
in a bigger form. It's like, these are all your problems and we can solve them because we know the hair.
But this is the challenge I find. Like, I definitely think that online, has its benefits for sure. But you get these people who lose their trust in professional products because they don't
Not
have
using
the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not that brand, it's like, well, that's just not what you actually should have been using. And if you'd had that connection with the person who had hands on your hair, who knew what you needed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then you're going to actually get the right thing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I think where the I won't say problem, but I think when your customers feel like they're being sold to,
Yes.
Yeah.
then they won't buy.
Yes. Agreed.
But if they're being recommended by someone who generally knows the
Yeah.
product,
Yes.
consumers aren't silly these days. They read reviews. They know what to expect when someone's trying to sell them a product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if that person's coming across as authentic and know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
you're going to get a bigger, higher rate of sale.
Agreed.
Yeah,
And
because
they
want professional
care.
hair. They
They
want
do.
professional hair care products.
Otherwise, they
Yeah.
buy it somewhere else. And then they don't know what they're using. One of the things that we talk about, I do this in Salon Rising and I talk about it a lot, but in our consultation
consultation?
Yeah.
method, we talk about, like, we say to our clients, like, what problems are you having and what can I solve for you today? Because, and like I always say, like, there's no point of asking a client what they're using. Don't shame them. No one cares. Like, no one wants to hear that. It's more so like, okay, what problems are you currently having? List to me your problems and I will fix it. And I said to the girls, sometimes it's not product. Sometimes it's like showing them how to use a blow drying brush, or sometimes it's
Yeah.
showing them, how to brush their scalp before they shampoo.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's telling them to use cold water for a rinse. But then it's like, tell them that and say to them, you have all my knowledge today. Ask me whatever you need. Because I always say, if I went to a facialist and they said that and said, what are your biggest issues? And I said, my makeup doesn't stay on and my forehead gets bumpy, and they recommended 2 products that fix that, I would be screaming that woman's name wherever I went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, we forget, and I always say to my girls, if I took everything out of your bathroom, you'd hate me for it because those things solve your hair problems.
Yeah.
But what happens is, and for so long, especially with how Jen and I trained, it's like forced. Like Betty that comes in every week for a blow dry needs to be shown 4 products because it is about sales and not about taking care. So it took me a long time to retrain my brain to going, no, I'm actually fixing stuff for clients. And when they ring us and say, like, my hair has never felt better, thank you so much, like, this has saved me.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we not, things like K18 have obviously changed the game dramatically, but why are we not giving them the same thing, which is why, it's so important. Anyway, we came completely off track.
Yeah,
talking-
I'll just leave it with this because I don't want this to be about products and then I'll think, hang on a second, Carlo's just coming here to talk about
No,
products.
not
but,
at all.
No.
But I see because I've seen it happen in a salon.
Yeah.
Like you'll have this conversation with one of your staff members, and your staff members will go, okay, I'm going to take everything that you said, I'm going to put it to the next client that comes in. And the next client comes in, she does everything, the client just says, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And it's all of a sudden, well, see, there you go,
Yes.
I tried it, it's not going to
Yeah.
work. It's like, and I just say, it's like the cup of coffee. Yeah, when any client that sits down, you're happy asking them if they want a cup of coffee, because you don't care whether they say yes or no.
Yeah.
Not every
Yes.
person wants a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
but it just becomes a numbers game.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So
One
but
one of my staff members, she's just qualified and she did lots of consultation work with my manager. And for her, it's just so normal. Like nothing, it's never been scary for her. So her retail rate is extreme because she's so passionate about product. And again, this is exactly this conversation, right? We didn't bring you on because you were like, sell more product.
No.
We brought you on, like you and I met in Melbourne. I was lucky enough to come down and meet with the company, and like Richard was like no one was in the room. Like you and I
Yeah.
were just like chatting and so passionate about this industry. But it's the same way when it comes to product. Like
Yep.
as a hairdresser, you have to be, or a beauty therapist, whatever you are, you have to be deeply passionate about what you're using and what you stock.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that doesn't come across to
Yeah.
the client. And for me, being able to use the products and become deeply obsessed, and Kevin Murphy became that for me, and now 11 has done the same. It is also, rejuvenated my team. They are obsessed. And it's the same way when it comes to colour, like we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. I've changed to Kevin Murphy Colour Me and we are obsessed and the team is so passionate. And that's been amazing for me because I haven't had a change in 10 years. And it is honestly I feel really emotional about it because it has been a game changer. The health of the hair, it has changed the way that we're colouring.
Yep.
And my team was the one that screamed at me for it, not me. So it's been really nice. But we've had no issues. It's been crazy. Oh, little bits here and there, but
Yep.
things that get rectified immediately. But it's been like 95% of the best thing that we've ever done. So for me, talking about this subject with having you on, it's more so got knowing, and I talk about this too with my clients in Salon Rising, it's knowing the company behind it so you feel like you've got a team behind you supporting you, which I have been blessed enough to have in both of my companies. But having a team for me behind me supporting me rather than me feeling like I'm working for a company.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that don't know that. I'm working with a team at the moment and they're like, what? Like it, and I felt like that when I was with years and years and years ago when I was with another brand. It was just a big corporation. So I just felt like a number.
Yep.
So, having you on and going like this, knowing the people behind the brand also makes you super excited to work with the brand
Yep.
because you've got all these people. So that was for me why we wanted to get you on, because it's not just a company. It's not just, it's
No.
like,
So
Where it all
2002,
began.
yes.
Yeah. And when I tell you the story, we know how hard it is to get a business up off the ground.
Yeah.
So at Ozdare, we want to provide products to salons that help them become successful at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because the more successful you are, the more successful we are.
Yeah.
And we know what it. So talking about the original question, where did it start?
Yep.
So Peter started Ozdare, and my brother who worked for Condé Nast, which sold black and white, Vogue, GQ, the only form of advertising that you could do back in the day.
Back in the day.
old print
Love it.
magazine.
Yep.
So he was going to Peter when Peter first launched to get him to advertise in his magazines.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Rob and Peter formed up a relationship probably, I want to say 3 months when Pete had landed into the country. And 3 months after that, roughly around that time, we have this thing called Hair Expo, as you know, and Pete was distributing for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I at the time was, and this is a story for another day, but my background's in women's shoes.
Really?
Yeah, manufacturing, creating, designing, selling women's shoes, and that's what I was doing at the time.
And here we
Believe it or
are in
not.
our Crocs and our cloud size. So shamed right now.
hey, my Crocs are fancy. They've got gibbets on it.
Yeah. A funny story about Crocs. So I got actually offered the distribution for Crocs back in the day, and I went, nah, they're not going to sell.
Oh,
Mistakes,
wow.
things you
Okay.
learn.
Look,
Yeah.
it took a long time for Crocs to become cool.
And they went out of fashion and back into fashion again. So I don't know
Yeah.
how they resurrected, but they did. And that's just life.
Yeah.
So, shoes. Anyway, I was going up to Hair Expo, and Rob knew that I was sort of looking at different things because the shoe industry, I wasn't saying coming to an end, but there were certain things that you could see happening. A lot of people were getting in the shoe industry, and lo and behold, online
Yeah.
shopping
Okay.
became. So
Yeah.
it was sort of, anyway, Rob said, there's this guy that you need to meet. I reckon you'd really get along well with what he's trying to do in this country.
Yeah.
I said, what's he doing? It's, you know, that stuff you saw in my shower. He had these American Crew beautiful bottles.
Yeah.
He said he's distributing that. I said, oh, okay. Anyway, I didn't even know what Hair Expo was. Rock up to Hair Expo, and he said he's just here. So it's his first expo that he's doing. I said, cool. And can you just give him this envelope, which was some marketing advertising rates? I said, yeah, no problem at all. Anyway, walked into the Hair Expo. Back in the day, you know how massive Hair
It
Expo
was
is?
huge.
Yeah, it was huge.
Because it was the only place you could go to
see
new products. Yeah.
How we used to do things back in the day.
Oh, I know.
huh?
Yeah.
Not fun.
It was
by the
good
way.
fun. It was good fun.
So I walked in there, and I'm looking for the stand, and because it's his first time, I'm thinking, you know, he had the big multinationals in the middle with their huge stands,
Yep.
and the startups around
Yes.
with their 3x3.
Yeah.
I'm looking. I reckon I went around the hall twice,
Yeah.
just looking,
Expecting a
expecting
3x3.
3x3, and I rang Rob and said, Rob, I've looked everywhere, and I cannot see this thing I've just seen it. Pete, with the help of his dad, built probably the biggest stand in the whole of Expo. It was
Wow.
massive.
Wow.
Absolutely massive. Yeah. His dad was a chippy, like a builder.
Yeah.
So, and he had his brothers and his mates, and like when you saw this, what I thought, yeah, this is the next multinational.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I had no idea that he had his brothers and his dad and all
Yeah.
his family
Yeah.
chipping in to help get this thing up off the ground. Anyway, so I met with him and said, hey, Pete, this is my brother. He goes, I'm Carlo, my brother Rob. He goes, oh, yeah, Rob, he wanted me to give you this. And I just had a look and said, what's going on here? He goes, just landed. I said, who's selling your stuff in Victoria? He said, no one. He goes, I've got a girl in Sydney, but I literally just landed. I said, I reckon I could sell an absolute bucket load of this stuff. He said, well, come and see me on Tuesday and let's have a chat, see what we can do. Anyway, Tuesday came around after having a great expo weekend and just learning about the hair industry, which by far is the best industry I've ever been in, which we can talk about later. Fun. I went to the address and I'm driving up, and much to the walking around Expo, I'm thinking here's this big multinational that's arrived in this country with heaps of money behind him. And I'm driving up and down and said, Pete, he goes, yeah, it's Carl. I said, mate, I can't seem to find your place. I said, I'm at such and such. He said, yeah, I'm the unit at the back. And I went, unit at the, okay. So I parked the car. Sure enough, there was a unit at the back. I said, where's your office? He goes, this is it. I said, this is your office? He goes, yeah. I said, okay. And your warehouse? The garage. Here, I'll show you. Had all this stock.
Wow.
So he literally was just starting out. I mean, he had a 3PL, but that was, I said at the...
Fake it till you make it.
Well,
That's a good story of faking it till you make
Well,
it. He's
he
Or
like,
just starting. Like
Yeah.
just
Just starting.
just start. Like
Yes.
don't wait until you've got this or wait until you've got that. Just start.
yeah.
Just start.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
And start big.
Well, but somehow, I don't know what it was. Well, I do know what it was. It was just how he was as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you ever had met Pete, he's just as full of energy and just had this, will to, you could tell he just wanted to succeed in this industry. And that was enough for me to join. So
Did he
that's
have a
where I
background in
started.
this industry?
He did, that's another story. He was just floating around Europe, backpacking and working as at ski resorts on the front door and letting people in and out. And he met a guy who was from Australia who had this, in Denmark, who had this Aussie Rules football team. And Pete started playing for this Aussie Rules football team in Denmark. And this guy from Australia actually had a distribution business in Denmark, selling Joico and a few other things.
Yeah.
So Pete learnt how to become a shampoo salesman in Denmark. And then they started Dare Corporation in Europe.
Okay.
And then he fell in love with a Danish girl, but then wanted to come back home and he wanted to start up his own thing. So he had history in it, but just wanted to take all the learnings, come to Australia and start his own.
Hence
Wow.
Ozdare. Okay.
Ozdare, so
Love
Australia,
that.
yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes, Jen.
There,
Fist
you
bump.
got it.
Now
Yeah.
we know where it came from.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
smart. Never would have picked that up. Never even asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So through that, Pete, learnt about the industry, learnt, what its needs were back in the day. And it just so happened through it's funny when you see businesses start, where they start from. And through a mutual friend, And we were selling our products in this perfumery called Klein's.
Yeah.
Perfumery that was ran by a beautiful lady named Andrea. And I was a rep, and I'd walk in and sell the product. She goes, Carlo, there's this guy that Ozdare needs to meet. I said, he's just started a product range, but, being a hairdresser, he's brilliant at what he does, but I just think he needs a bit of help as far as the business side's concerned.
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, oh, yeah, what's the guy? Who is he? His name's Kevin Murphy. Right?
Wow.
And I think that, something could happen here.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, look, because at the time I was consulting with Peter. I was still with shoes, and I said, yeah, I'll get Peter to set up a meeting and they can talk about, and that's how Kevin Murphy started. So Kevin already had 4 or 5 products.
Yeah.
And he was placing them in certain spots. And then all of a sudden you had the artistic side and the business side. Well, they combined together and created Kevin Murphy, which Ozdare started here in Australia before it went overseas. Yeah.
So Ozdare has started with American Crew.
As distributors, American Crew, Moptify.
Yep. And then developed
because then
with Kevin Murphy.
The Collamer Group who own those purchased those products back off Ozdare.
Right.
And then they went direct and did it themselves. And then we had Kevin Murphy that we were in charge of.
Wow.
And then developed 11.
So 11 came about, story number 2, with Kevin Murphy. Being a startup, Peter kept, investing, falling short of money, investing, falling short of money. And I'd keep loaning him money. Here you go, Pete, here's some money. Here you go, Pete, here's some more money. And then he'd give it back. It was just sort of to help him out. And one day he goes, Carl, instead of me giving you your money back, why don't you I'll give you shares in Kevin Murphy.
I love this story. Give you shares of Kevin Murphy. Ready?
So at the time, I was, amongst other things, with a few friends, I was running nightclubs and having a ball. Like it was this nightclub that a few friends had started and I was part of it. And everything that Pete was doing at the time seemed like a massive responsibility that I was single. I just, as much as I loved the concept and loved what Kevin was doing, and even when I said no to Pete, he goes, you're the one who said this is going to be a massive hit. And I was like, yeah, thanks, but no, I'm good. Because huge mistake, by the way. Huge, massive. But, if you don't learn from your mistake, I won't say a mistake, if you don't learn from decisions.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
he could be a multi-billionaire with Crocs and Kevin Murphy. Instead, he's hanging out in our salon.
What we need to do is follow Carlo around and the things that he passes up is
Exactly.
what we're taking on board.
Yeah.
So anything he says no to, we're saying yes to, and Jen and I are going to be rich.
So Pete, it got to the stage where, and I'm still consulting. Pete said, "Mate, I've got to go. Kevin Murphy's taking off. I have to leave and go to Australia." I said, "So commit to Ozdare, can you? For God's sake." I said, "Okay." I said, "I will." I said, "But you have to give me an opportunity to create my own brand with you." I said, because and my brother, and at the time we were having conversations because Joey Scandizzo and Andrew O'Toole, you might know them, they were thinking about having a product or creating a product range themselves.
Oh.
So Pete wanted another product range. He wanted because Kevin Murphy was price pointed. He wanted to do a price pointed range, and yet here's Joey, myself, and Rob, Rob, Joey, and Andrew, all on the same page. So I said,
Okay.
I'm happy to, as long as we get a chance to create our own brand. Yeah. So at the time, Pete was like, "Great, just can we commit to Ozdare?" I said, "Absolutely." So I joined Ozdare's national sales manager of Ozdare. Yeah,
Okay,
in charge
yeah.
of sales. And then Pete then bought into the business. So to show commitment, Pete said, "Come on, become partners in Ozdare." So myself and Rob, we became partners in Ozdare. So national sales manager, Rob was in charge of marketing, Pete was CEO of the business. And in the first year, become partners of someone, he very rarely came into work. And I'm sitting there going, what's this all about? And he'd come, because he lived in Point Lonsdale, and he'd come to work nice and relaxed with a tan. And after a year, he's walked in the office and said, "Hey, we need to have a chat." I said,
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. And he's like, "You're probably wondering why I haven't been coming to the office." I said, "Well, now that you mention it, what the hell?" He said, "Listen, I've got to leave Australia. We're going to go move overseas because Kevin Murphy's taking off. I said, I need to leave. I said, well, who's going to run Ozdare? He goes, you are. I said, what do I know about being a CEO? I haven't run a business before. He said, what do you think you've been doing for the last 12 months? So he purposely walked away
Oh, wow.
to see if I could take over the reins. And that's, how we sort of got to here after,
So where did the name 11 come from, and how long have you had 11 for now?
11's probably been, 2011, funnily enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that where the name came from or no?
Yeah, my brother Rob was, and I'm pretty sure this is the right version because you know how stories change, but I think he was on a plane with Andrew and they were just talking. Rob sort of thought of the name 11, before it was 2011, but then we thought that was the name. It coincidentally was 2011.
That it would be launching and
The first, we started with one product, by the way.
Wow.
11 was launched with Miracle.
The Miracle,
That was it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was, and having the backing of Pete. Pete said, listen, let's just start with one product.
Yes.
He said, because it would be a lot easier to get one product into every salon rather than to getting a whole range. So just let, and because this product was
You
so
think
good.
about it, many brands have done that. K18
Kevin
did
Murphy
it.
did that. Easy Rider.
Was that the
Was
first
the
one?
one
Kevin
product.
Murphy had paid about 4 or 5 products.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one. But it was a small range with Kevin Murphy started. But one singular product. I mean, Morocco
K18 was like that. Moroccan
Yep.
Oil was like that. Olaplex did that.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like one or two products, like
The
heroes.
hero and then,
And at that time, there was, Moroccan Oil did this thing with all their oils, but there wasn't really a cream-based product
Yes.
that did what Miracle did.
Yeah.
So that was the catalyst of starting 11. And because people had such confidence in that one product, we had distribution across Australia. I mean, we set up a separate sales team just to sell that one product, which people thought were bat crazy for doing it. But, people was like, let's just get into as many places as we can. So when we did launch the brand, there was already a story there that people were buying into, so it was a lot easier to get the brand into once we created the whole.
Wow.
Yeah, because you created that community and that story. I love the story. The story
too.
is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, people have asked how did 11 become the success from the early beginnings?
Yeah.
And I won't talk so much about Kevin Murphy because I was still more in that was more Pete and my brother Rob and Kevin that was sort of, and the Ozdare team that was building. I was still sort of consulting, still trying to decide before that.
Still having a good time.
Yeah, still having a good time. But with 11, why it worked so well is that from the start, firstly, you have to go into business with people that you're going to get along well with.
Yes.
Oh, that's a shame. I don't really like you.
I mean, there's no genius in that
I don't
statement.
like Richard today, so that was fun.
Yeah,
That's why we need a middleman.
correct. But what works so well is that we all had the respect of each other. So let's say between the 4 of us, and the reason when I say the 4 of us, Pete he was already overseas doing his thing. He'd check in every now and then, but by and large, unless they had what I thought was the best idea in the world, and the 3 of them said, Carlo, you're barking up the wrong tree. That's a rubbish idea. You just take it for what it was. Yep, I trust that if you 3 aren't seeing what I'm seeing, it doesn't go ahead.
Yeah.
And that's how we pretty much entrusted each other
Yeah.
to come up with ideas. If we all thought it was a great idea, then between
Then
the
there's
4 of
something
us,
in that,
there's gotta be
yeah.
something in that.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science here. So we created that, and let everyone stay in their own lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless someone asked, if you asked our opinion, we'd happily give it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
if we're entrusting, well, that's what your job is to do. Then
I think
away
this
you
is
go.
really important because I work with salons that are co-owners. So if anyone's out there that's like this way, and I'm working with a few salons like this that just need that retweaking of whose responsibility is what, because so often it gets blurred. So in particular, one salon at the moment where I'm saying to them, okay, like what do you love? What do you love? What are you good at? What are you good at? And really creating those defined boundaries of where everybody knows their role is, because I think knowing that and working to the strengths and then coming together, that's when it goes well.
Yep.
Otherwise you find someone ends up doing 90%, someone ends up doing 10
Yep.
because they're not delegating, they're not kind of working out what's in their toolbox and how they best work. So I definitely think for anyone that has a partnership, it's really important, because if you look at me, Rich and Jen, we're very, very different in how we all work. We all have such different strengths and we work to them. I don't try and do Jen's job. She doesn't try and do mine, and Rich doesn't try to do either of ours. So that's why we work so well, because of the different strengths. So anyone that's in a partnership, I think that's really important too, because someone might be amazing with the numbers, someone might be amazing with their team, and that's what you've got to focus on rather than both trying to do the same job.
So am I right in the team that you're working with when you were developing 11 has got your brother in it as well?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a bit
so it's
special.
him and Robert, like, in Ozdare completely.
Yep.
And
Oh no, that's my phone alarm going off.
telling you that you
Telling me that money comes easily.
Yeah.
We'll leave that in. Ozdare is showing the love to Sell on Rising listeners with some incredible offers. Whether you're part of the Kevin Murphy family already or you've been thinking about partnering with Ozdare to join the Kevin Murphy crew, these limited time offers are for you. Head to ozdare.com/Sell on Rising and find out how Kevin Murphy and Ozdare can help your business rise. We're back.
Yeah, so his brother, it's him and his brother in all the businesses.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Although this year, business being what it was, because Ozdare had a lot to do with running 11.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And around 2019, Ozdare, it got to the point where Ozdare and 11 couldn't keep just
Being one.
doing the same job, or running both companies.
Oh,
So
okay.
2019 was probably when we should have separated and gone different ways.
Yep.
But then COVID hit, and we
Yeah,
didn't even know
yeah.
that there was going to be a business, let alone splitting up and having two separate businesses.
Yeah.
So we went through that period of time where literally everyone just had to do both jobs until we saw what came of when COVID finished and so forth. And in a lot of ways, I mean, the team, when you have a great team like we did, there's no way in hell we would have been able to get through that if you didn't have the good people around you.
100%.
Yeah.
And I, from the outside, before I even knew you, because I only met you a couple of months ago, Ozdare in the industry had a really good name for what they did through COVID with their people.
Yeah.
A lot of companies did it. And Ozdare had a really strong name for how they looked after. You have a very strong name with how you look after your staff, which is really cool.
Yeah. I mean, there was no roadmap. We were just winging it a lot of the time because there's never been a COVID, But how it was interesting how people pulled together because everyone knew they were on the same boat. Yeah. And to the job that they did to get through that and come out the other end. In a lot of ways, for different reasons, this has been the hardest year of work in my whole entire life. The year that we're just going through for different reasons. But getting through that, and then it just got to the point, it became too big. So we had to, I left CEO, because I was CEO of 11 and of Ozdare. And you just couldn't continue to do
Both.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it got to a point for me to continue to be CEO of 11. I literally would have had to move overseas.
Yeah.
At this stage of my life, didn't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
So we got a CEO who was running America at the time. I went full-time to Ozdare and Rob stayed with 11.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
So Rob's still head of marketing and we're still shareholders in both businesses.
Yes.
But we had to run separately because it was just, both businesses were growing.
So you obviously start, so you think of Ozdare, it started obviously in this tiny little tiny little office garage.
Yep.
Back unit with a garage.
How many staff do you now have across both businesses? Approximately.
Oh, God. So with Ozdare, we're probably around 75 staff.
Wow.
And then with 11, you throw another 20 odd.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and then then there's Kevin Murphy. And
Yes.
That's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, if you're talking staff,
Yeah.
well, you put Peter at the top and everything that's come down underneath him, the staff.
Yes.
It's because there's a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
people.
And
That's
you just
really,
mentioned
really
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So starting from his, office and his garage at the unit in the back of St Kilda, that was
That is cool.
23 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a day, guys.
No.
Definitely
You
was.
just have to start the garage and the, you know.
But they say, I mean, when time flies, I can honestly say the 20th. I've never seen an industry like this.
Yeah.
I have, like the shoe industries, but what opportunities this industry gives you.
Yeah.
Not just with enjoying the job that you do, but traveling the world. I mean, this is the incentive. I've never known any incentives more than this industry. Trips to Europe, trips to America. If you sell X amount, you get to go here.
Yeah.
There's conferences over there, and a lot of my friends say, "Mate, you don't have a job."
Yeah.
And a lot of the times you woke up not feeling, and you had that drive to keep you going, was because you love what you did. I mean, I'm not the only person to have come with this revelation, but it's true. It was just, and it's still, don't get me wrong, I want to say it still is.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I think you really have to enjoy what you do.
Agreed.
Which we all did.
Yes.
So, yes, I think on that point that I was saying before, you're very good at looking after your people. So in turn, your people are very good at looking after their people, i.e. me. And it's been really nice for me. So the way that Ozdare came on board for us is, you guys would have heard me talk about one of my favourite people in the world, and I can say that because she's in the room.
Yes.
My girlfriend Tanya, who I've known since I started my apprenticeship. And I started with Kevin Murphy 2.5 years ago. So when we moved to this space, I took Kevin Murphy in, and we obviously fell in love. It looks incredible on my shelves. And then Tanya moved to Ozdare, so she became, and she works for Kevin Murphy under Ozdare. And the first company I was with because of Tanya. And then when she moved over to Kevin Murphy, it was easy for me because it meant I wasn't losing her. And you were gaining the greatest person in the entire world.
Yes, without question.
I'll get you a pay rise later, Tanya. You're welcome. Without question, because anybody that you speak to in this industry that knows Tanya is like, there's nobody like her.
Tanya is the benchmark that businesses should be setting for what they want their employees to be if they want to retain the businesses that they want.
Agreed. Completely and wholly and solely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only is Tanya the biggest advocate for the business she works for, because obviously she's very, very, very passionate, always passionate about the story. Like, she would never work for a massive multi-corporational because it doesn't work for her ethics and her values. But she is the biggest cheerleader and support for the salons that she works with, and she knows what people need individually. So very good with the love languages and knowing what people need. She knows what I need when I need. I've had like good old mentee bees at my house, and she's there holding my kid, playing with him while we're trying to discuss something while my life is falling apart. But she's there, she's there. One day I couldn't speak. I had the worst sore throat in the whole world and ended up on antibiotics, and Tanya's bringing me Calypsos because she knows I can't eat. So having somebody that has my back and knows me that much, knows when I'm like, she's tapped out, I'm not talking to her, or knows when she's like, she's inspired, let's go, or some cocktails and a taco is when you're going to get the best side out of me. And everybody that I speak to that knows her is the same way. So for her, she's one of my biggest advocates, and I'm very, very lucky because she brought the podcast to you guys, and originally to Mark, who is their national sales manager.
Yes.
That's right. And, I got a voicemail from Mark saying like, oh my God, I've listened to the podcast. I'm obsessed with it. It's so good. We need to talk. And when we started having a conversation, it was like, we met with Mark, Rich and I met with Mark only a few months ago. And then within 3 days, we were meeting with your new marketing head. And then 2 weeks later, we were flying down to hang out with you guys. So that's super cool for us, because having a company that can already see your vision based off listening and, being involved is really, really cool.
Yep.
We obviously flew down, and you guys allowed so much time for us, which was so cool. But we're really passionate about, eventually being able to develop stuff with you that works, from a salon point of view and an owner. I know what I need. So, being able to develop things with you guys for your reps, to allow your reps to be the benchmark of why people are with reps is really special. But at the end of the day, it's because she's really happy with the company that she works for, because she feels valued and taken care of,
and that comes
she's
from the
able
top.
to do. That comes from the top. So, for me, it's always really important to know who the top is, because she's always sung your praises. And then for me, a little business like me, that's who I want to support.
Yeah.
That's who I want to have my business with. So when the decision of changing colour over was, I didn't look after, I have reps and come in here constantly. Like I am getting free shit out my
free
ass.
shit all the time.
And it was never a question of I'm moving to I didn't look at any other company except for Colour Me with Kevin Murphy because I have so much trust in the brand. And then my question was like, I was like, Tan, how do you feel about this? Like knowing that honesty is one of her top values. And she's like, it's beautiful, babe. Let me just come in and show you. So then that's how I started with the brand, which is how I started with my last one. So, you know, feeling really comfortable to go, okay, I feel comfortable to try it. Because for me now, being a mentor, if my students, my humans that I coach, if they're like, I need a change, I know I have to have a brand behind me that I feel comfortable enough to be like, you will love it because they have their trust in me just like I have with Tan. So it's so important to have a brand that you feel like you're in love with and that lives up to its expectations, which Colour Me absolutely 100% does. I'm obsessed.
Yeah. Well, the beauty about having people like Tanya and Mark working for a company like Ozdare is they do a lot of the driving.
Yeah.
Like they'll come to me and say, right, Carlo, we need to do this, 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 and this. I'm like, great, fantastic, because you get so busy. And I actually, when we landed in Gold Coast and Tanya picked us up, and we're in her beautifully clean, presented car, and she had water and there's chocolates if we needed some
Jeez, you're
energy.
lucky
And
we
there's a
didn't
lunch
pick you up.
pack. There's a lunch pack for when we drive to
Yeah.
Brisbane, which. And there might not seem like much, but to me, that's like the
That's
attention to
everything.
detail
That's what I mean.
is everything.
She's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, who brings calypsos in when she knows you have a sore throat?
But
you know,
but
she
you
just knows what I
you
need.
can't teach that.
You can teach that.
Well,
You can
you
teach
can,
that,
but
Carlo.
yes, you can.
You have
but
to.
I
You
think
can
it's
teach it to the right people.
That's
You
People
hire the right
That's
the
people.
point.
I'll teach it.
That's the point. Yeah.
You have to have the people that are ready to receive, and
Yes.
then they'll learn it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's someone going, I want to do that and I want to build my business like I want to build what I do for a living like that. Tanya also knows the limit. Like she wants to work with her ideal clients. So Tanya's not
course.
going out and chasing anybody that doesn't want to work with her either. She wants to find the people that want to work with her too, just like for me as a coach
Yeah.
in Salon Rising. I only want to find the dream clients, as every business owner should be looking for. It's like, what are your dream clients? And again, who's your dream reps? Like, what does that look like for you? And it's not as much in beauty. Like beauty is very different, but it is very much like that when it comes
Who do you
to
think
hair.
Ozdare's dream clients are?
Oh,
Good
that's a
question, Jen.
That's why they keep me on, gang.
Ozdare's, but it's interesting, you know. Oh, the basics. People that pay their bills, they're always a dream client. Yeah,
But we say the same thing. We're like, but it's not a bad thing to say because we say that.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
ask me my dream client, someone that likes to spend money,
Yeah.
someone that's like happy to invest in their hair, in their products, and in Salon Rising, someone that wants to invest in themselves. Because if people can't see the value, then I don't want to work with them either.
Oh, look,
I don't want to sell myself.
No. And if you're talking about what's the dream client, I think any client that you go after or you want to be part of, that has to be a fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if there isn't a fit, you can't force that.
Yeah.
And in business, if you're not on the same page,
Yeah.
I remember I had one of the sales reps ring me up and say, Carlo, there's this client, I'm trying to get on that person's wavelength. And we never can. We're always clashing heads. We're always butting heads. I don't look forward to going to that account. It's the bane of my existence. I almost hate going to that account. I said, then don't deal with them.
Don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, she goes,
Yeah.
what? I said, don't deal with them.
Yeah.
I don't want you dealing with people that you don't want to deal with. That's not a good way
Yeah.
to start your day.
Yeah.
And that one
Yeah.
account can throw you off for the whole day. So just
Yeah.
don't deal with them. So a dream client is people that believe not in just the products that we have, but the company itself and the people representing the company.
Yeah.
I say to the salespeople all the time, guys, just so you know, they're buying you just as much as they are the product, if not
Yes.
more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, classic example, we wouldn't be in here today
No.
if you didn't believe in Tanya.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't happen. So there's a lot of things that you learn, and it hasn't always been the case. It evolves.
But it's
Like-
the same way when you are an owner that has staff. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't believe in my people and my people didn't bring the people in.
Yeah.
I can't look after every single salon, every single like client, just as you can't look after every single salon. So you hire the people and you love the people so that they do your job they do the job that
Yeah.
you need to do
Yeah.
because the clients can't come without me having the people that I have.
Yeah.
So I think our job really as leaders is to take care of those people first and foremost. And I think Richard Branson says that. He says that a lot, you know. I have to look after my people because my people look after my people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like it's that flow on effect. It can't be, you know, you trying to look after every single client while you're not sure if your staff are looking after them. It's like, how do you nurture your staff in a way that they then take ultimate care of your clients, because then that's how the business grows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think listening to the people that work for you, like genuinely listening to them and having time to listen to them, which I'm starting to do a lot more now, because like Ozdare, like you'll go through your pains, and being spread so thin, there's a lot of things that we're starting to we let go, we dropped the ball on a lot of things. You know, I put my hand up, we were just so under stretched.
That's really, I fucking love that you said that, because for every business owner, that is so reassuring. Like that doesn't feel like, oh shit, this is a company that doesn't know what it's doing. It's like, this is a company like all of us that go, it got too much and we got lost and it got real and it was hard, and we're implementing again.
Yep.
Because that's what happens in every scenario. Like, shit got real in my house this morning. Yeah. You know, and now my kids were a fucking shit show, and now I'm going to implement the things that make it feel easy again because I dropped the ball on it. But every company is the same way. No one's going to be perfect. It's still a business.
It's still, and with that growth, like that's always going to happen on that precipice of something big, right?
Yeah.
Like you grow and you grow and you grow and things get really hard because like that it's being stretched, and then it's like, okay, now we find a new way.
Yes.
Yep.
And the new way forward is this. And that's when, but you wouldn't feel the same in that new place if you hadn't gone through that stretch.
Yeah, because if people right now are sitting in that precipice of being like, it's falling, it's failing. You've already said I had to listen to my people. Get someone to listen to. Like that's when you work with me. That's when you work with the coach to go, I'm here and I'm sticky. And we've had someone this week that we're talking to same way, like, I'm stuck, I'm sticky, I need help. And we're like, this is the perfect time to reach out. Like, how can we support and get you to that next level? Because you've got to listen to people to do that, because you can't do it yourself. Other people have that knowledge and that support. Again, you know, and I think that's really cool. Like, you're this CEO of this huge company and you're listening to your reps going, hey, come and meet these chicks. They do a podcast and they're great.
Having trust in the people. If Tanya said, I need you to come here and meet this person, I said, yep, cool. Just tell me where you need me to be. And as I landed, I said, just to get out of the office and just it was miserable and wet and rainy in Melbourne. Not that it's like that all the time, but this morning, and we haven't had a summers yet, but even just to land here and just to come and, you know, see your salon. Like you came and when you actually, our academy wasn't open back then, but to actually have a look at what the business is about firsthand. You can't do that over a Zoom or over a phone call, but to come and actually see.
And that was the coolest thing. Like, Tanya was like, you have to meet them, and you guys were like, yep.
Yeah.
And like, we flew down on Father's Day and everyone still met with us and had dinner, and then we met the next day for breakfast, and then we had we had the conference room, and it was like, that is cool. Like, here's like, Tanya's just like, this is what and you're like, yes. You know, and that is super, super cool. So for me, it was, it's very easy to get on board with a company that gets on board with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, there's still a lot that we need to implement, just because the world's changing so quick, and you know, people are strained at the moment.
Yes.
Prices are going up. People are, you know, concerned about what's going on. And in general, you know, life can be pretty tough.
Yeah.
So what we did and what we need to get back to doing is creating a place where people enjoy to go to work.
Yeah.
For those 8 hours, if they can leave whatever that is behind them,
all the noise,
and just have a place that they can be for that time, happy and content and enjoy what they're doing, then that's a big part of us doing what we need to do.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So,
and a lot of our conversations were, you know, funny when you and I were talking. A lot of the conversations are around building community, building, you know, those relationships, because I know how important they are for us to feel heard and seen as business owners, like, you know, creating and supporting other business owners together so everyone feels like they have their community and they have their people, because that changes things. And for us, that's our main focus is community.
100%.
100% of people being able to feel seen and heard in a very safe environment that allows them to kind of go, okay, because, you know, in our courses, when we run our courses, the people that are just like, oh my God, thank you, like, because someone else has said something that they're like, oh, I needed to hear that, or, you know, it's just being vulnerable enough. And that's what I think you just did then, and that's the perfect part is you were vulnerable enough then to say, we make mistakes and we're still trying to implement things to make things better, and we're growing and we're learning. As a company, that only makes me trust you guys more.
Yeah.
Like that only makes me feel comfortable enough as the salon owner, not as Salon Rising, as a salon owner, if something messes up, for me to be like, this was messed up and I'm not happy with it.
Yeah.
Because
And you said it perfectly, creating a community. We used to do that really well at Ozdare. We used to have these amazing retreats where you'd go away and have these incredible guest speakers that salons could listen to.
Yep.
And when you saw people interacting, you knew that, yes, they were there to listen to the guest speakers, but they just wanted to feel part of something.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and we've got something similar to talk about because we're part of the same company.
Yeah, you want people to feel like they're in the trenches with you.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of the times it wasn't about the brands that you had in commmen. It was that, okay, so how's your selling doing? What are you going to take with this? What are you doing?
Yes.
And when COVID hit, and because we're under stretch, we haven't done a lot of that for the it's been years.
Yeah.
And people, if I haven't heard 1,000 times, Carlo, they need to feel part of a community, which we're building
Yes.
up to,
Yes.
and we're going to start doing that next year. But that's a lot of work too.
Yes.
It's huge.
Because-
But that's
huge.
Right. It's a lot of and this is the thing people don't understand too. It's a lot of work that doesn't come with the reward, but comes with massive reward. So
Correct.
even for us to put on a retreat, which again,
Which we
everyone
get
keeps
asked
going
about
on
every
all the
week.
time, it is huge amount of work, huge amount of cost. You don't come away with much other than your cup so full.
Yep.
And
filling the cup of others.
And filling the cup of others, and then builds your community so your business does actually grow exponentially because people go, this is a company I want to be on board with. So it's like a short time, massive work, massive expense for, in the end, a really long time achievement and goal.
It's
and
planting the
it
seed.
builds. Yes.
So what other things are in the works for Ozdare then, Carlo? Like, so building connection,
Yep.
where do you want to go? What's next?
I guess we're always looking to, we get offered new brands all the time.
What brands have you
to
got at the
distribute.
moment?
Well, at the moment we've got Kevin Murphy, 11, K18, Dyson, Eco Heads, the new pod by Eco Heads, Cezanne. Have I gotten anything? No, that's probably that's enough.
Some
That's
wicked
decent.
as shit brands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's decent. That's something
Yeah.
that's really cool too, because we speak about, for me, I like being with one company. I do. I really do, because I love that Tanya just comes in and can sort me out and do I have got enough going on. Tanya handles it all. I like one invoice. I like to not think about it. Like, even I said to Tanya, when my bill comes, you tell them to take it off my credit card. Don't ring me. I don't want anything to do with it. Just take it off. The money will be there, because I don't want to have to think. And so Tanya really handles that for me. Again, someone else wants to have their hands in that pot. I do not. You sort it.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. You just do it. And I've got this person that does it beautifully. So we had Kevin. Obviously, we brought in Colour Me, which I'm obsessed with. We had K18, but now K18 has become even bigger for us. Like, I always have believed in K18 since I got it. And I remember when it was called something else, wasn't it?
I think it was K Hair Pep before.
K Hair
Yeah.
Pet.
Yeah.
Chantel had it very
Yeah.
first at Talish. And she kept telling me about it, and I was just like, it's this tiny little brand. And then, K18 took off. And then I was like, the minute we got Colour Me in, I was like, let's do it. Let's bring 11 in. And again, that's given my clients a different price point.
Yep.
And the girls are loving it. We used it. We all fell madly in love with it. And now it's just these great 2 price points for us. But for me, my colour and my product now all sits in one company.
Yeah.
I don't have to think about it. And a lot of people don't know, and something that I train my salons to look at is, if you are, buying from several different companies, you're not always getting, people, and for me for a long time, I felt like I worked for the company. I had a salon and I felt like I worked for the company. Like, I never saw any benefit. This was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, this is not, the last company I had was amazing. It was 12 years ago. So, and then I realized when I went in with my last company, you can actually get help. Like, these
Yeah.
companies can actually support you in what you need.
Yeah.
So again, having a rep that can go, yeah, we can help you. If you have the brands, the biggest spend means you
Yep.
can ask for different things. You can ask for rebates. You can ask for
You can just ask for the support.
training.
Yeah.
You can ask for support.
Yep.
You
In
can
so
ask
many
for
different aspects of your
so
business.
many different aspects of sitting down with someone and going, yeah, I was considering a change, and if I change and the company can go, this is the things that we can offer you. And for me, the importance of a small company where I know the CEO and I feel safe is more important, because the big ones wouldn't work for me, because I need to, like, I'm too personal. I need a company that I
It's
know.
connection and community.
Connection and community. It's me as a person.
It's funny, you know, and I failed to mention too, like before Rob and I were doing what we're doing now, we were both reps on the road.
Yeah.
So we know
What
You've
it's
been
like.
in there.
what
You know
salons
what's happening.
need, what
Yeah.
signs. Like, and I think I was on the road for, must have been good 8-10 years.
And when we had dinner, you and I were discussing that massively about what that looks like. And I
absolutely.
think that's really important too, because for me as a coach, I'm a salon owner. And I was a hairdresser that worked by myself for years. Like, you want to feel heard by someone who's done that job, not just, and the fact that you were a rep for a long time, you know how you want your reps to work, I think is really important.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it definitely is. It's what's still to come with Ozdare. God, what's next year going to hold? I mean, I know we're spending a lot of money on getting a new system in place, which is important.
That's really
Like
cool.
You've got
just
the new
knowing-
academy.
The new academy. We're
Yep.
building a new warehouse. Forgot about the new warehouse that we're building in our distribution centre and warehouse. We're moving from Sunshine to Truganina, which means nothing to you, but we just outgrew the space that we were in.
Yeah.
So we needed a bigger space.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. And then it's trying to navigate your way around. As I said before, we get brands offered to us all the time. But being in Australia, and what a lot of salons have to understand too, is having a brand that you own compared to distributing a brand,
Yes.
it's a big difference as far as your margins is concerned.
Yeah.
Because when you're distributing, unfortunately with Australia, most brands that you look at distributing, you have to buy in US dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way the US dollar or the Australian dollar is at the moment to the US,
Yeah.
it's not good times.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
where we are. So a lot of our brands, apart from 11, we distribute. Even though Kevin Murphy started here, we're a distributor now of Kevin Murphy.
Yes.
Yeah. So Kevin Murphy, Kevin Murphy K18 and 11, three of our biggest products, two of them we're buying in US dollars.
Yeah.
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 So there's a lot of brands, but there's a lot of factors that a company like Ozdare has to take into consideration when deciding to take on a brand.
Yeah.
It's never been more complex than it is today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you don't see a lot of brands in Australia that you see globally,
It's for that reason.
a lot
Yeah.
of the times.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. For me, what I loved about this industry was how much fun you had in the industry. The fun seems to have, I won't say disappeared.
It's
Maybe
because the
just-
community's gone.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it used to be like if we look at it pre-COVID, Hair Expos everyone went to.
Yep.
You had all the parties, all the companies put on parties, and they were the fun points. They were the cut fillers. You loved being with other hairdressers, other salon owners. There was retreats. There was overseas trips. There was, lots of different things you could do to bring yourself back to going, oh, this is fun and informational, and this is the joy of being a hairdresser. That needs to come back tenfold, because salon owners, what happens from a salon owner's point of view when you have staff is it's your job to motivate and
Yes.
inspire staff.
Yes.
But who
where
does
are
that
you
for
getting
us?
your
Like,
inspiration?
who inspires and
Yep.
supports us? So having a company that can do that is like, I have that from Tanya, obviously.
Yep.
But having a company that can do that and like make you feel supported and inspired and held,
Yep.
that's what every fucking salon owner wants, because they're
Yep.
tired,
Yeah.
and they want someone to go, if you do this, I'm going to reward you. Because you look at our kids, it's exactly like our kids. I say, our staff
Samara
are like
needs
our
a
kids.
sticker chart.
Yeah, I need a fucking sticker chart. I
Yeah.
need Tanya, bring me a sticker chart. She's nodding her head. Tick. Tell me I get a reward. It's stupid. I can buy myself the freaking reward.
Yeah.
But like, one of the principles of that was I worked years ago with Mr. Smith, and they put an incentive in place that
Samara loves an incentive.
because no one incentive. Like, I
Yep.
want someone to be proud of me. That's how I work.
Yep.
Like, words of affirmation, and like someone being like, you go, Glen Coco, that is me. And they put an incentive in place that whoever sold the most amount of product got a trip to New York.
Yep.
I bought so much product, it all went in my garage. Like, so much. I won the trip.
Yep.
The trip literally was flights and accommodation for 4 days.
She could have bought that trip.
I could have bought that trip 10 times over with the amount of shit I bought.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm going to win that.
Yeah.
But it seems unachievable to many people because it's on such a big scale. And I'm going to say this and probably out of turn when I say this, and Tanya's probably going to be like, but like the big competitions with like, you know, there's some on at the moment, I'm not going to say it, but it feels unachievable. But if a company can get behind a salon owner and go like, and this is what I would love to see, no other companies listen to this. This is actually just for Ozdare. But if a company can get behind a salon owner and go, okay, well, we've put something in place for you as a salon owner. So if you push and you push your people, because I push my people really hard to make that so I could go. But if you push, we'll incentivize you this way.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what's important. And I want to, like, we just came off our Christmas party on the weekend and I got a ridiculously pimping house that you've never seen anything like. And the girls showed up. They had all their Christmas boxes sitting there, so they all had presents. Dinner was sorted, all put on the table. They had we had grazing food when they came in. The next day I had a masseuse for the whole day. We did this beautiful craft activity. Breakfast, lunch and dinner I did completely because my job was to nurture them for the weekend.
It was basically a mini retreat.
It was basically a mini retreat. So I nurtured them all weekend and had everything that was indulgent and desserts and everything was done and I did all of it. And then the Sunday, same thing. I did breakfast. We had walks on the beach and then we had a Pilates breath work and a mindset coach come in and we did all of that. And one of my girls at the end was like, do you feel recharged? I'm like, no, I'm fucking exhausted, but my cup is so full. But my whole team feels so held and supported and loved that imagine companies being able to do that for a salon owner. That salon owner is never going anywhere. And that's where your business grows.
About. We're building that community again.
Absolutely. In fact, what you said, one of the, I won't say disappointments, but the bigger you become, the more people you employ, the harder it is to do
maintain.
We used to do that all the time. When
Yes.
Pete was starting Ozdare, we'd literally take the whole team. I mean, he took the whole team overseas once, everyone in the company. Yeah. But you could do it because it was a smaller amount of people, a smaller team.
Yeah.
And having a bigger team, you just lose that.
Yes.
And it's really hard to create a sense of community in your own business when you've got so many people. Like we've got our Christmas party coming up where everyone will come to. Yeah. And, would I like to do that more often? Absolutely. It's just not possible.
Not
many
for a
people.
team on that scale.
No, but you somehow have to work out a way to make them feel like they're part of something.
That.
Which is a struggle.
I couldn't, and that's people say to me, would you have more salons? I'm like, absolutely not. I maxed out at what I maxed out because I have, I'm enough of who I have. But I guess it is just, and your team do feel, well, I can say from what I can see, how long, Amy's been with you for a very long time. How long has she been with you?
She has been with, so Amy worked in a salon and I was her rep.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember you saying this.
Yeah. And it's what you learn. And it's funny because in the shoe game, you dealt with the owner of a business and that's all you did.
Yeah.
You dealt with the owner of the business. You got to know the owner of the business really well. And even if he didn't like you and you didn't like him, it was a business transaction.
Yes.
I can make money of what you sell, so let's just do business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was fantastic. To digress for a second, when I moved into the hair industry, what I realized really quickly is that you could have your products in a salon, making them X amount of dollars, and one day you walk in and all your products are gone and you're like, where's my product?
What's happened? And they haven't had any interaction with you about
they
it.
just say, I felt like a change.
Yeah.
And I went, there's some real differences here.
Yes.
So what Amy taught me is that I feel embarrassed to say it, but back then, for the longest time, I didn't even know her name, only because I wasn't used to greeting the staff.
Yeah.
There was always a one-on-one transition with the transaction, with the owner of the business.
Yeah.
That's all you spoke to. He didn't want you to speak to the staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no real product training.
Yeah.
Because it was a new range of shoes.
Yeah.
There's the shoe, there it is.
Yeah, it's so true.
But I realized quite quickly, and I say this to my team and any person walking into a salon, get to know the staff.
Yep.
Because they're the ones that will get behind your product.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
because they're the
Not
ones who are
the-
going to use it, and they're the ones who are going to sell
Absolutely.
it.
They're the ones that told me to get the new product because Tanya made them feel secure with
Yeah.
it, and she knows all of them. Like the other day, she brought in one of my girls. It was one of my girls' birthdays, and she happened to be here that day, so she brought a cake in for her, and I was like, "You are a clever lady." Like, because they love her.
Yeah.
So, like, again, if anything goes wrong, no one's getting mad at Tan. They're just like, "Hey, Tan,
Yeah.
this has happened," and Tan's just like, "Yep, I'll fix it."
Yeah.
But it's
But
very true.
Yeah, and even because you said, Carlo, the difference it makes when you walk into a salon and say, "Hey, Amy, how are you?" as to, "Hi, how you going?" Just there's no
Yeah.
connection there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's little things.
So, what's Amy doing in your business now?
So she's now in charge of marketing. She's been with us, God, I want to say
So
20
I think
years.
from what I
20
can
years?
tell, she's just like your and your brother's middleman, right? She's like,
For the longest time, yeah, we bounced ideas off her because Amy being a hairdresser herself, and there was no real role. She just sort of she was doing events for a while. She's a jack of all trades. That to a business, it's one of these people that's really hard to replace.
Yeah.
because they're
She's
across.
me.
she
Well,
is you.
yeah, and you can't.
She is you.
You
But it's
can't-
been really cool. It was really cool actually because when we went out for dinner, we met and Amy was there and Mark was there and you could like her and Richard like you could tell that they wanted to have a conversation, but you and I were just like, sorry, we're dominating this room.
Yeah.
And they just sat back and now they talk all the time. But it's really nice again for me to see like they were like this human is so important. She's been with us for 20 people stay for a really long time and that says a lot about a business.
Yes, it does.
And she's just like, oh yeah, my roles just kept evolving. And like, I love that you've got, again, a person in your business that's a hairdresser that has taught you so much that you still bounce ideas off. Like, I think the humbleness of that is really,
Yeah.
really cool.
I tell you what's in the business as long as Amy, you have to be very careful not to take advantage of the person that you know so well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yep,
mean?
yep.
Because sometimes it's almost like they're so close to you that you almost assume that you can be your most relaxed.
Love you.
Do you know what I mean?
If I don't appreciate you, sometimes I love you,
Yeah,
Jennifer.
but and you don't normally, and some of the things that you expect by someone who's, not that you know you can get away with it, but you know that person almost.
I can totally get away with it. Love you, Jen.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
But
get it.
sometimes you have to check yourself and say, hang on a second, don't take advantage of a situation
100%.
just because that person, and it's not that you do it intentionally.
No.
You're just a familiarity.
Yeah.
With people, because we've got, God, I reckon we've paid out 10 long service leaves. We've got a lot of people at Ozdare that have been there for a long time.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Across all
Yeah.
parts of the business, you know? And God, I guess that the beauty of coming into COVID, when you've had a team of people that have been there a while, yeah, it helps because people say, "How'd you get through COVID?" I'm like, I didn't get through COVID.
Our people got us
the
through
people
COVID.
got
Yeah.
through COVID because they knew the business. Some in a lot of cases more than me because I
Yeah.
specialize in that
in that
part.
particular
Yeah.
area.
So for that it was yeah, it was great.
So, in saying that, if anyone is like, I think this is a good segue because obviously I talk about this brand a lot because I really love it. For a salon owner out there that's feeling a little lost or needs a bit of a change, because obviously the change for me has been, like Jen has seen it.
Yeah, it's a refresh.
It's been a refresh and it's been absolutely a game changer for me because it had been 10 years and it's nothing to do with who I didn't already like, who I loved, because everybody knows the company that I worked with I love deeply, but I needed that. Well, my staff needed it and I had to do the change and do it as well. But for anyone out there that's A, feeling like that, or B, is just not being supported by who they're working with, what's the best thing to do with Ozdare? Who are they best to get in contact with?
Oh, there's many ways. I mean, you can contact the head office. You can contact Tanya, Mark. You can contact anyone. I guess protocol is to speak to salons who have our brands. I think would be the best
Yeah.
starting point.
Yeah.
And ask them about what they love dealing with Ozdare.
Yeah.
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 And if that's a starting point, and it's not just there, but then you can go, okay, then you can either ring, Mark's national sales manager, Tanya, they all do a great job.
Tanya and Mark
okay.
are both their names and Ozdare on Insta.
If you're talking about
Yeah,
selling
and
in
if you-
Queensland,
Yeah.
I'd say give Tanya a call.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if anyone needs like those details or they don't remember them, they will be in the show notes and you can just DM us and we'll be able to give them to you.
100%. 100%. But yeah, I completely agree. It's just getting in touch and, finding out who can take care of you within your area.
Yep.
But I also, if you're considering it, as Jen said, reach out to us because then you have an in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I will contact the company I generally contact Tanya and I'm like, hey, I've got this for you. And she's like, all right, I've got this person that's getting on it. I'm going to because Tanya's so meticulous, she then gives me the right person and then I can point them in the right direction because if then you're not taken care of, it comes back on me and then I'm going to kick Ozdare's ass. So
Absolutely.
yeah, got your person that's going
There you go.
to take care of you. So yeah, if you are considering, it is honestly been such a beautiful change for me, and having the product having color, it's I have no words, it's just beautiful. So I'm very, 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 very lucky to have aligned myself with a company that I love and deeply believe in the product for my people, but also who's behind it as well, because I think that's really important.
And thank you guys for just supporting our company, getting behind Tanya and like I told you earlier, I'm not really a fan of doing these things, not because, it's just not, but you've made me feel really comfortable and I've enjoyed it.
Was like,
I've actually enjoyed it.
I was like, don't worry, you'll sit down. It'll just be like talking to us. And it's been an hour and 10 minutes. It feels like 10 minutes. It just feels comfortable because the whole point of this podcast is for it to feel vulnerable and comfortable. You don't want anyone coming on here and being like, oh, this is my company, because it doesn't, as you said, you've been a rep. All salon owners want is connection to the people that they're buying the product off, because that's how it makes our lives feel better.
Yeah.
Right.
So thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you to Ozdare, and we look forward to creating connection with everyone in the year to come.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Bye, guys.
Thanks a lot,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you. Ozdare is showing the love to Salon Rising listeners with some incredible offers. Head to ozdare.com/salonrising and find out how Kevin Murphy and Ozdare can help your business rise.